Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level English ESL lesson, and today we're going to be learning about the difference between the words say and tell, and also reviewing reported speech to talk about news items. So what's going on? Do you keep up with current affairs? And what topics are you interested in? Politics, the economy, sports, the environment, arts and culture, or science and technology? And you can put your answers in the comments to start some conversation. So read about how Mateo, Yael, and Abriel stay up to date. Mateo says, I subscribe to websites that keep me up to date on news around the world. I also use social media to find out about less serious topics. Abriel says, unlike my friends, I'm only online once or twice a week. I call into the main office once a week, where I usually find out what's been going on for my colleagues. And Yael says, I'm always looking at some kind of electronic media, but I never seem to know much about the important world issues. There's just too much information. So what do you think of these points of view? Do you have a different opinion? So Dylan says, I don't look at any social media because it's all trash. Corey says, you can't trust the major news companies anymore. They report news that sells papers. They're not interested in the truth. Charles says, journalists have a hard job. People want to understand complex issues in 300 words or less, and that's just not possible. Olivia says, you should read the newspaper front to back once a week. You need to read serious articles if you want to understand serious issues. And Wee says, we used to listen to opinions from an expert who had spent his or her life studying a topic. Now we listen to opinions from people who have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So again, you can give your point of view or your opinion about any of these in the comments if you'd like. All right, so now you're going to listen to Kayla introduce the topic, and then we'll answer the questions.
I have been a journalist for over 30 years. During this time, there is no doubt that my profession has changed dramatically. To start with, when I started working as a journalist, most people still got their daily news by watching the news on TV at 6 p.m. or reading a newspaper. As cable TV and the internet began to grow in popularity, this started to change. And then there was the arrival of social media.
All right, so what is Kayla's profession? So she said that she is a journalist. And how long has Kayla been working in her profession? For 30 years. And see, in general, what is she talking about? She's talking about how journalism has changed during those 30 years. All right, so Kayla talks about changes in journalism and how people get their information. So go ahead and pause the video. Actually, we'll have to listen to this first. So you'll listen and then pause the video and answer the questions.
I have been a journalist for over 30 years. During this time, there is no doubt that my profession has changed dramatically. To start with, when I started working as a journalist, most people still got their daily news by watching the news on TV at 6 p.m. or reading a newspaper. As cable TV and the internet began to grow in popularity, this started to change. And then there was the arrival of social media. Some studies suggest that 50% of Americans under 30 now get their news from social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Secondly, in the past, journalists had more time to prepare their content. Articles were checked, edited, and verified before being published or broadcasted. Nowadays, there is more pressure to present material as soon as possible. On the other hand, it is much quicker and easier to do research than it used to be.
So since Kayla became a journalist, her profession has changed, she said, dramatically. What does Kayla say about people under 30? That 50% get their news from social media. In the past, articles were checked, edited, and verified before being published. And according to Kayla, what is easier to do these days? Research. So here are some examples of reported speech. So she said that she has been a journalist for over 30 years. She said that 50% of Americans under 30 get their news from social media. She said that she would like to change her career. She said that people got their news by watching the 6 o'clock news. And she said that her profession has changed dramatically. And so how well do you remember Kayla's words? Is all of the reported speech true? Well, all of it except this one. She didn't mention anything about changing her career, but the others are all true. So when we change direct speech into reported speech, we often move tenses back, and this is sometimes called backshifting. So I have watched that movie 3 times, and here she told me that she had watched that movie 3 times. So the verb tense of the direct speech is present perfect, and the verb tense of the reported speech is past perfect. All right, so we use backshifting in reported speech. Backshifting means changing the verb forms by shifting them back 1 tense. So here we have present simple, I don't eat fruit. And so we would change that to the past simple, he said that he didn't eat fruit. I can help you, but in reported speech, he said he could help me. I will come, he said he would come. And now present continuous, I am studying Russian. We would change that to past continuous. He said he was studying Russian. Am, is, or are going to. I'm going to travel to France becomes was or were going to. She said she was going to travel to France. The past simple, we visited her, becomes the past perfect. They said they had visited her. And may, I may come, becomes might. He said he might come. All right, so now use backshifting to change Jessica's direct speech into reported speech. You can go ahead and pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so I don't eat meat becomes she said she didn't eat meat. I can't come to the party. She said she couldn't come to the party. I will wait for you at the front of the building. She said she would wait for me at the front of the building. I left my keys, my house keys at the office. She said that she left or had left her house keys at the office. John is working all weekend. She said John was working all weekend. I didn't complete my homework. She said that she hadn't completed her homework. I enjoyed the movie a lot. She said that she had enjoyed the movie a lot. We will see you on the weekend. She said that she would see me on the weekend. Susan has already left the office. She said that Susan had already left the office. And Alex may be sick. She said Alex might be sick. All right, now we don't always change the verb tenses. If what the speaker said in the past is still true now, then you don't need to change the tense of the verb. So for example, the universe is expanding. He said that the universe is expanding. So what he said before is still true now, so there is no need to change the tense. And here's some important information about reported speech. The modal verbs might, should, would, and could do not change from direct speech to reported speech. I couldn't go to the concert would be she said she couldn't go to the concert. She should try harder. He said she should try harder. But you may need to change the pronouns. I don't like fried food. He said that he doesn't like fried food. I need you to finish this quickly. He said that he needed me to finish it quickly. And words used for time and places may need to change. I will meet you there later tonight. She said she would meet us here this evening. He will finish the report by tonight. He said he would finish the report by yesterday. All right, so now change the direct speech into reported speech. You can pause the video and try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So we're not happy about your school grades. They said they were not happy about his grades, the school grades. We are catching a flight to London. They said they were catching a flight to London. I injured my arm. He said that he injured or had injured his arm. I'd love to eat at that new Japanese restaurant. He said he would love to eat at the new Japanese restaurant. Josie has just left the office. He said Josie had just left the office. All right, we're going to listen to Kayla again, and you'll mark these true or false, and if they're false, then you'll need to correct them.
Secondly, in the past, journalists had more time to prepare their content. Articles were checked, edited, and verified before being published or broadcasted. Nowadays, there is more pressure to present material as soon as possible. On the other hand, it is much quicker and easier to do research than it used to be. If you're talking about reliable, respectable news sources, I don't think the content has changed that much. We still cover politics and current affairs, business, science, and technology. There is far more coverage of environmental issues, though. This is an area that gets a lot more attention than it used to. Social media news is completely different. It's dominated by celebrity gossip.
All right, so she said that journalists used to have more time to prepare their content. That was true. She said that there is more pressure today to present material as soon as possible. That was true. She said that it is harder to do research than it used to be. That's false. She said it was quicker and easier. She said that they no longer cover politics and current affairs. That's false. She said that they still cover those things. She said there is more coverage of environmental issues. That's true. And she said social media is dominated by celebrity gossip. That's also true. All right, so now take notes while you're listening and then provide some examples of reported speech.
Finally, one of the most significant changes to the news over the last 30 years has to be the involvement of the general public. Suddenly, everyone has the potential to be a journalist, a photographer, or a videographer using social media to share articles, photos, or videos. In addition, the news has also become much more interactive as audiences have the opportunity to have their say.
Right, so she said one of the most significant changes in the news over the last 30 years is the involvement of the general public. She said that anyone can be a journalist, photographer, or videographer using social media to share articles, videos, or photos. And she said the news has become more interactive. All right, we commonly use say and tell, but we use them in different ways. We say something. He said that the movie was enjoyable. Less often, we say something to someone. He said hi to Mark and Justin. But we tell someone something. I told him I didn't want to come. They told him they would be late to the wedding. We can use tell plus a direct object plus an infinitive to change an imperative into reported speech. Eat your vegetables would become I told her to eat her vegetables. Don't work so much. I told him not to work so much. So now practice using say and tell. So use say and tell to make two statements in reported speech for each of these. You can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so Susan isn't able to work next week. She said Susan wasn't able to work next week, or she told us Susan wasn't able to work next week. I was studying all weekend. He said he was studying all weekend, or he told her he was studying all weekend. I finished writing my assignment. He said he had finished writing his assignment. He told her he had finished writing his assignment. I don't want to go to the theater tonight. She said she didn't want to go to the theater tonight, or she told him she didn't want to go to the theater tonight. And you should study at the university next year. She said he should study at the university next year, or she told him he should study at the university next year. All right, so now you're going to choose the correct option for the reported speech. Again, you can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. I don't want to come. He said he didn't want to come. We can meet you there. We told Mom we could meet her there. She enjoyed the party. She told me that she enjoyed the party. Andy is sleeping. Mom said Andy was sleeping. It rained all weekend. He said that it had rained all weekend. Luke will arrive soon. He told them that Luke would arrive soon. Jane had worked all weekend. He said Jane had worked all weekend. And Ankara is the capital of Turkey. The teacher said Ankara is the capital of Turkey. And this is one where we don't need to backshift because this is still true. Ankara is still the capital of Turkey. All right, so which of these questions are yes or no questions and which are information questions? And just a reminder, information questions are also called WH questions. They're the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And can you remember how to form WH questions and yes/no questions? So where are you going? That's an information question. How did you get to your interview? Or how did your interview go? That's information. Are you feeling okay? Okay, that's yes/no. Have you eaten this morning? That's a yes/no. What do you do on vacation? Information. How long have you been waiting? Information. Is Josie at her desk? That's a yes/no. And when did you travel to Malta? That's information. All right, questions in reported speech do not invert the subject and auxiliary verb. The question is embedded in the reported speech. For WH questions in reported speech, we do not invert the subject and the verb. Where are you going? Becomes I asked him where he was going. Why is she smiling like that? He asked John why she was smiling like that. When will you travel? He asked me when I would travel. We do not use the auxiliary verb in reported WH questions. Where did you go? I asked him where he had gone, so we don't use the auxiliary verb did or do. What do you want? He asked me what I wanted. How much did you eat? They asked her how much she had eaten. So we do not use do insertion in the reported speech. All right, so now change the direct speech into reported speech. Again, you can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So this one would become Tony asked Sharon where she was working. Miles asked Stuart when he would come. Harriet asked us how our vacation was. They asked her where she lived. Sally asked Mary why she was unhappy. We asked them why they arrived late. He asked me how long I waited. She asked Roger who he spoke with. Una asked William what the time was. And Albert asked Simone when the exam was. In a yes-no question, we use if or whether to introduce the question. It is more common to use if than whether. Did you have a nice birthday? She asked him if he had a nice birthday. Will you go to the party? We asked if they would go to the party. Did you enjoy the movie? She asked us whether we had enjoyed the movie. Now, some questions offer options, and these are a type of choice question, and we use whether for choice questions. Would you like coffee or tea? So she asked whether I would like coffee or tea. Will you visit London or Paris? He asked whether I would visit London or Paris. Now, today, many native speakers use both if and whether in choice questions, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Both are really accepted, especially in casual conversation, as being correct. All right, so now change the direct speech into reported speech. Again, pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So Susan asked William if he had seen the movie. Chris asked Jonah if he had finished his homework. Zoe asked Diego if he liked eating shellfish. Vivian asked Brett if Vancouver is hot in the summer. Sandra asked her teacher if she had to finish her assignment. Karthik asked Kate if she could ride a horse. Colleen asked James whether it was hard to be a vegan. Betty asked Wee Sue if she had finished her book. And Chung asked Anthea if he could leave work early. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.